campaigns pertaining to the idea of codification to the state. They also aid in terms of lobbying, because many a times you need to sit with those diplomats of various states and suggest to them as to how this particular draft will be supporting the greater cause of international law altogether. And this particular lobby was hugely being done during the process of the making of the UNCLOS, right? The United Nations Convention on Law of Sea greatly had been influenced, and accordingly many other international declarations and conventions. So you will see this particular roughly around 26 provisions, right? Nothing more than that. Go through this particular piece, right? It's a very relevant. It has witnessed 3 amendments till date, and largely those particular amendments were with respect to the number of members and the procedure part, right? The how this committee will be recommending to General Assembly, because one crucial aspect is even with their recommendation, it will be submitted to the General Assembly, right? And it will recommend to the General Assembly whether there should be further action that needs to be taken, right? The Commission may recommend to the General Assembly to take no action, the report having already been published, to take note of the adopt of report of resolution, to recommend the draft to the members with a view to conclusion of a convention. Now, this is very crucial. Article 23, clause, clause 1, subclause C is very crucial for our purpose of understanding. Now, this is a middle path which was formed when that particular committee of 17 was established, right? And in the 1947, 31st of January 1947, because many of the states were quite apprehensive that if those recommendations will be coming, what will be the fate of those recommendations? Will be applicable upon state ipso facto on its own with the making of that particular draft? A safer route was found that the draft itself will not be applicable upon state. It will be placed before General Assembly. There will be arguments placed on behalf of member states against that particular draft, and only with the consensus reached, that particular draft will be culminated into a form of convention, and thereafterwards it will be applicable upon states, right? There are necessary requirements of a particular convention for its application implementation. You need to have a sufficient number of members participating in it. Then you also have a clause, right, wherein you say that a minimum of this much number of members present signing should adopt that particular convention. Thereafterwards, it will be applicable. And the classical example is UNCLOS. It was formulated by the year 1982, but it was applicable from 1994. It took roughly around 12 years for its application, right? So this is something which is part of the Statute of International Law Commission. Very small statute. Go through it. The process, it defines you both progressive development of international law, but also explains you what is codification of international law. Article 18 speaks about codification, and you also have a reference of progressive development of international law. Its functions has been referred under Article 15, right? And the progressive development of international law is also referred under Article 16, right? And the meaning of progressive development of international law is when General Assembly refers to the Commission a proposal for progressive development of international law, the Commission shall follow in general the procedure which has been referred over there. It will appoint one member as a rapporteur. It shall formulate plan of work. So this is what the method of progressive development of international law has been explained. Article 17 talks about how multiple drafts will be created, multilateral conventions, what will be the process of its submission, right? All of that. And then codification. The Commission shall survey the whole field of international law with view of selecting piece topics of codification, having in mind existing draft, whether governmental or not, right? So many a times the government suggests to this particular commission that there are significant development with respect to certain practices that states have been following. Classical example in this particular regards is all those conventions pertaining to space laws, right? You will have relevance and role of International Law Commission played over there as well. This is on behalf of states because there was so much of this competition between two powerful states at that point of a time, between USA and Russia, and it was felt by other member states that it must not be limited to these two states alone. There should be a proper recognition with respect to jurisdiction and other requirements that needs to be followed with respect to any matters pertaining to space, right? So the states can also refer certain suggestions to this particular organization, and accordingly it works upon its codification. It was very remarkable achievement on behalf of International Law Commission that they came up with multiple conventions pertaining to use of outer space, air and outer space, right? So this is how this codification part of our syllabus has been covered, right? This is referred in the slides as well. Most probably tomorrow, not tomorrow, but by Saturday, I will be sharing these particular slides, because on Saturday, the PhD class which we have, I will be putting a quiz, right? So I will be putting all those topics that will be covered, because we will be covering in next class tomorrow subjects of international law as well, right? And therein we will be looking into various aspects: legal personalities, theories, the rights and duties of a state, theories, realist theory, functional theory, fictional theory, and few case laws as well, right? Reparation case and Marlborough Matis case, which questions those theories altogether, right? With respect to establishment of subjects of international. That's also part of our syllabus. So we'll be starting with this by tomorrow in the tomorrow's lecture, right? In the meantime, just we will go to the attendance part, right? If this Creatrix works good enough, otherwise we have the option of downloading the attendance as well. I believe it will be working. Yeah. Okay.